Here we got our SpongeBob that we're going to draw in SketchUp. The object of this is to learn how to draw rectangles and circles to accurate size and indent places. So we have our orthographic projection drawing and our isometric projection drawing. So we'll start out by drawing the main base of SpongeBob here. So we're going to go into SketchUp. When we come into SketchUp, we want to be on woodworking millimeters for our template. And then we have two settings here to take care of. Camera, parallel projection, and camera, standard view, front. Now, anytime we're working with SketchUp and we have some dimensions that we have to deal with, I look over here and I know this has to be 300 wide, and I missed this dimension, but it's 400 tall. So I'm going to take my tape measure, and it's critically you don't click on the origin, and I'm going to go here from the blue line over and type 300 and hit enter. Then, now I have 2 points I can't click on. I can't click here, and I can't click here. I want to click on the red line, making sure to get that little hook on the tape measure, bringing it up, type 400, enter. And it should come into place. If it didn't, that's okay. We can just erase and redo. So these are our guidelines that get us our rectangle, but we need to make an actual rectangle in there. So there's pencil tool, and right below the pencil tool is the rectangle tool. So I'm going to set up the rectangle tool, and now I have a surface, or a rectangle, that's got 4 edges, 1 surface, and 4 corners. Now looking back at SpongeBob here, I have to give it a thickness of 100. So in SketchUp, I always turn to isometric view. If you don't have this view up here, you can right click on the toolbar and you can turn on Views menu. So I got to go to isometric. Now my square is turned sideways. Click on the push-pull tool. Click the surface. And I can bring it back. I want to make sure not to go forward. I want to go backwards. Go back too far, click, and type 100 and hit enter. And now we have our block that's 300 by 400 by 100. But we need to check that. So we're going to put some dimensions on there called. It's right next to the tape measure tool. Click on the dimension tool. Start, click, end, click, and pull it out and click. Start, click, end, click, pull it out, click. Start, click, end, click, pull it out. So I have my X, my Y, and my Z dimension. So now I know how big this box is, and it tells me that's all right. Now, if it's incorrect, let's say one of these measurements was incorrect. Like that's 456.8. What do? I grab the tape measure tool, bring it back up, type 400, and I can just push-pull back down to that line. Now I have 400, 300, 100. And I'm good to go there. Now it's on to my eyes. So I'm going to look here. I could choose to do my mouth next. I could choose to do my nose, my eyes, whichever one. It doesn't really matter. But we're going to go on to the eyes. So go back into SketchUp. When I draw, go back into front view, which is the house with the door. When I draw a circle, I have a hold of the circle at the center. So I need to figure out where the center is. And then I need to know how big the radius is. So come back here. My center, if I look at 75 millimeters from the edge, 100 millimeters from the top. So I'll take my tape measure, click on this edge, bring it over 75, bring it over 75. So I'm bringing it over and clicking and then placing it and then typing and hit enter. Come from the top. Again, I don't want to click on the intersection or my endpoints. I want to click on the line, bring it down, 100, type 100 and hit enter. Now I have my 2 centers for my eyes. Now I need to know the radius. Well, the diameter here of the eye is 100, so the radius is half the diameter, so the radius is 50 on these eyes. So I'm going to click the circle, click my intersection here, making sure to keep my pencil on my guideline, not tipping up here at a funky angle. Click and type 50 and hit enter. So again, bring it out, click, type 50 and hit enter, and it goes to the right size. Now I can figure out how far these eyes come out of the face. So if I look here, this is the eye because it's the same size. Look here going up. Oh, right there's my dimension, and right there it is, 25 millimeters it comes out. I'm going to go back to ISO, so click on the 3D house at the top. Push pull. Take your eye, pull it out way too far. Type 100, or sorry, 25. Pull this out. 25. Oh, it didn't work because I did 2 push pulls. So what I need to do now is grab the eyeball, set it back to 0, bring it out, and type 25. Ooh, and that warning reminds me of something. I need to go to File, Save. That warning should tell me to save. You want to click down here in your, I don't have one, but you'll click on your login, click in your Design and Modeling folder, and save it up as your hour, your login, and then SpongeBob. I'm going to just put it on my desktop for now. You guys don't save it on your desktop, it will delete. So now I have my 2 eyes. Now I got to get the pupils. Front view. Pupils start out. I don't have a center point, so I just got to hover. Don't click, just hover. Come over. And the pupil is 25 radius. So don't click again, I just hover over until I can see the center point show up there. Click, bring it straight out. 25, enter. Looking back here, this smaller circle, pupil sticks out 5 millimeters. So I'm going to go back to ISO, push pull, go too far, type 5, hit enter, pull it too far, type 5, hit enter. Now I have the eyes done. Time to go for the nose. I'm getting a lot of guidelines here, so I'm going to go Edit, Delete Guides. And now I'm into the next step. So I have the nose. Look for the nose. It's a circle again, so I'm looking for the center. 179 down from the top of the head, and it's right in the middle of the head. So we'll get to use a midpoint. So go to Front View, Tape Measure, grab the top of the head, come down 179, enter. Come over. Now I don't really know where the midpoint is, but if I take my cursor and I go up here, right there's the middle of the head. Circle here again is 25 millimeters. It doesn't say it on SpongeBob, but it is 25. Go to isometric, push pull, and I'm looking here and that's coming out 100. There's SpongeBob's nose. And I'm going to go back to front view. Last thing we have to attack is the mouth. We're going to do the whole mouth first, and then we'll come back and do the teeth. So the whole mouth is 220 wide by 50 millimeters down, and it's 250 millimeters to the top face. So I'm going to set a guideline at 250, then I'm going to set a guideline at 50, and then I'm going to get my side guidelines at 220. So I'm going to go back into SketchUp, grab the top of the head, come down, and that was 250. So there's the top line of the mouth. Grab the top of the mouth there, come down at 50. And again, a lot of people like to click here and then you get this little funky plus. We don't want to do that. Now, 220, but it has to be centered on this center line. So I could do some math and subtract off these edges here, or I could go and I can click here, bring it on over, and go 220 divided by 2. And that'll give me 110. 220 divided by 2, enter. So there's the basic shape of my mouth. I'm going to click the top or pencil tool to get the top line first. Now we have to go to this arc tool. It's right underneath the polygon. It's a 2-point arc. Oop, I drew an extra line there on accident. It's a 2-point arc. Click, click. So a 2-point arc is 3 clicks. Start, end, and then bend. So I'll undo that and do that again. Start, end, bend. I go isometric. Now I have my mouth there. Look over here. This one's kind of funky to look at, but it's a hidden line. It's a dotted line. That's how deep my mouth goes. It goes 20 millimeters deep. So I come here, push pull. I push pull back now. I can push pull way out the back of its head and type 20 and hit enter. And that gets that set up. Delete those guidelines. And I'm going to go front view. If you want to, you can go on and figure out the teeth. If not, that's perfectly fine as well. This is where we'll stop for right now. We're working on this piece. So at this point, we're pretty much done. We just have to put some dimensions on. So we're going to finish out our dimensions. We're going to go to ISO to finish out our dimensions here. So first thing we have to do is grab the dimension tool, again right next to the tape measure tool. When you click on the edge of a circle and drag out, it gives you the diameter. To get the radius, we're going to right click on it, type, and hit radius. Same thing with this one. Same thing here. I want to get the thickness of the eyes. This one's kind of tricky. You got to click on, it's hard to see, but there's a blue line that shows up back here. There's a blue line that shows up over here. This blue line that shows up here. Got to get it to highlight blue. So now I got the radiuses. And I got the distance that they're coming out. I want to try to move these just so I can see them as best as possible. And then we have the mouth. The mouth, we're going to have to go into front view again to get that. So click the 2 corners. Click there in the bottom. If it drops it funky like this, just drag it to the right. Go isometric. And here is SpongeBob complete. If you want to color them, if you want to put the black dots on the eyes, if you want to put white there, all that stuff, you can do that. If you want to start cutting some holes in him to make the sponge part, that's perfectly fine. Otherwise, we're going to save it again. We're going to go File, Export, 2D Graphic. And this 2D graphic is going to get it into a picture file so you can submit it to Schoology. So you're going to keep it named the same thing. You're going to put it as a JPEG file and hit export. When you go into Schoology, you just have to make sure you are looking for that correct file. So right there is my SketchUp file. It's got the little SketchUp icon. It looks like that. Right here's my JPEG file. That's the one you want to open up in Schoology. So you're going to go to Schoology, you're going to go File, Upload, and that's the one you're going to take care of in Schoology. This picture will be in Schoology as well, so you can see it for reference. Good luck making SpongeBob.